Hello, Canucks fans. Welcome back to the episode of Canucks Conversation, brought to you by Bet365. I've got a new read for Bet365, but I'll get to that later. My name is David Guidrelli. I am joined by Harmon Dial, our technical producer, the man at the controls who you'll hear from today because it's a Family Feud Thursday, is Jacob Lazar. It is a Canucks game day edition of Canucks Conversation as the Canucks take on the St. Louis Blues. Note the early start time, 4:30 start tonight, 4:30 Pacific start for the Canucks and Blues. Harm, how you feeling today?
Good. I'm amped up to watch this high stakes game. It's exciting.
That's the thing, is every game from here on out is a big game for this team. But with the Blues knocking on the door, this is a capital B big game. And we can pull up this tweet early from Noah Strang, who likes to tweet out the odds of
Not
the
just
Canucks
capital
winning
B,
playoffs.
all caps.
All caps. I like it. This is from Noah Strang. If the Canucks beat the Blues in regulation, their playoffs jump 15.5% all the way to 52.7%. Now, if they lose to the Blues in regulation, the Canucks' playoff chances drop 12.3% down to 24.9%. Those numbers courtesy of moneypuck.com and put together in a tweet by Noah Strang. Harm, we were talking about the Blues yesterday. They are red hot right now. They are knocking on the door. They've made an improbable comeback into the wildcard conversation. And I don't even want to come in and say anything like, oh yeah, if the Canucks win this game against the Blues, it ends the Blues playoff chances, because it doesn't. Mathematically, it doesn't. And I don't want to make sweeping claims like that, because I think last week I said, oh, well, the Blues are basically out of it. They're right there. They're right there. The Canucks have a game in hand on the Blues. The Blues have played 69 games where the Canucks have only played 68, and they are deadlocked at 75 points apiece. As I poke around with the Blues, who are, like I said, 7-2-1 in their last 10 games, they are the only team outside of the teams that are in a playoff spot in the division that has a positive goal differential of +3. Everyone else, Minnesota has -4, Vancouver has -14, Calgary down to -24, Utah -14. The Blues are the only ones with a positive goal differential. Harmon, tell me about this Blues team.
Well, they've been hammering teams lately. It's not just that they're winning, and yeah, their schedule has been soft during this run, but they're winning games like 7-2, 4-1 by wide margins. They are on a bit of a PDO bender. They're shooting like 12% at 5-on-5 over the last several weeks, but it's similar to when the Canucks had their PDO bender at times in the first half, where it's okay. They're getting bounces, but they're still a good team, because if they were getting fewer bounces, they'd be still winning those games. It's just they'd be winning those games maybe 3-2 instead of 6-2. Is kind of what I'm getting at. The Blues have turned it around since Jim Montgomery got hired in late November. Their even strength performance has flipped 180 degrees since that decision. I think under Montgomery, they're a top 10 team in the NHL. In terms of their 5-on-5 expected goal differential. So they typically outshoot and outchance opponents. Whereas when Drew Bannister was at the helm of this team, they're controlling something like 45% of expected goals at 5-on-5. They were one of the worst teams in the NHL at controlling even strength play. When I look at why they've had success, I mean, their top six is really gelling lately. Thomas and Buchnevich together are firing on all cylinders, which is huge for them, because in the first half, Thomas wasn't really performing at the elite 1C level that he'd flashed last year. And Buchnevich, who's typically been a point per game type of winger, they started the year with him experimenting at second line center. And he was kind of scuffling, but they went back to that combo. They've caught fire. And then on the second line, Dylan Holloway's basically been a point per game player since Montgomery took over. Jordan Kyrie's been hot. Brendan Shen has rediscovered his form. They've got like 5 forwards who over the last 17 games are operating at a near point per game clip. So they can score goals in bunches. They are missing Colton Parayko, which is a significant blow to their blue line. But between Broberg's impact, the midseason acquisition of Cam Fowler, and Justin Falk looking rejuvenated, they're defending well enough to where they're still competitive and playing well despite Parayko's absence.
Let's not forget about Cam Fowler yesterday, a guy we talked about on yesterday's show. Like, when we were talking about Cam Fowler ahead of, not the trade deadline, because he got traded earlier and the rumors were coming out a lot earlier than that, it was basically that you're getting a lottery ticket. Is Cam Fowler washed, or is he just on the Anaheim Ducks? It looks like the answer is the latter, as Fowler's been great. Fowler's been great for the Blues. It's going to be an interesting one tonight. Connor Garland returns for the Canucks harm. Lecker Mackey is the one that comes out of the lineup. Again, we were talking about this yesterday. Does that surprise you at all? Like, ultimately, harm, the way I look at it is it's really hard to take Linus Karlsson out of this lineup with the way he played last game.
It was why I asked Jeff that question yesterday, because it is a really difficult decision of who to take out. It can't be Oman because you need 4 centers in your lineup. Otherwise, he would have been the clear slam dunk answer. But I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised. I thought Lecker Mackey gave that first unit power play an extra shooting threat on the left side, and that they haven't really had on PP1. And it's not just what he means as a shooter. It also opens up passing lanes because penalty killers have to respect his shot in a way that they don't really have to respect Connor Garland's shot. And I know that Garland brings to PP1 attributes with his puck recoveries that maybe you don't get in Lecker Mackey. But to me, I wanted to see Lecker Mackey in this lineup strictly as a power play specialist. And as well as Linus Karlsson played last game, and he probably deserved to stay in the lineup, I still would have taken Karlsson out of the lineup, because when I look at what skill set this team lacks, it's goal scoring. They really need that power play to get going. It's not as if this team has a shortage of effective bottom 6 grinders. So to me, if it came down to Karlsson versus Lecker Mackey, I can understand why they went with Karlsson, because he genuinely played really well last game. But it's about what skill set do you need more in your lineup, in my mind. And the power play to me needs more of a boost than the bottom 6 needing Karlsson's forechecking and ability to win battles.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. And it does come down to that. It comes down to the conversation of what do you bring at 5-on-5 compared to special teams, and how much does that benefit the team. And I agree with you. I think I agree with you that Karlsson, again, understand that it's hard to take him out of the lineup with the way he played, but you probably would have liked to have Lecker Mackey on power play 1. We're assuming it's going to be Connor Garland again in that spot on power play 1. No other changes for the Canucks on defense. Now, one thing I did want to talk about when it comes to the defense was this tweet from JPat. He tweeted about DPD. Okay, and I'm not sure if you saw this. This is what Jeff tweeted. Looking at DPD's season, 16 NHL games so far, just 1 penalty, and it was a matching roughing minor with Colorado's Miles Wood on February 2nd. So the rookie D-man still hasn't put the Canucks shorthanded. Pretty impressive as he continues to learn the ropes in key games. I didn't even think of that, but not only is he not taking a penalty, his whole game is stick checking, body checking, playing the body, playing rough. Like, players like that you would think are prone to taking penalties, but DPD, no minor penalties yet.
Yeah, that's really impressive, because as you alluded to, a lot of these bigger defensemen that like to play the rough and tumble style, that are more shutdown types, they tend to take a lot of penalties. I mean, when you look at last year's blue line, for example, the combo of Zadorov, Cole, Soucy, and Myers were all among the worst defensemen in the NHL at taking penalties over a multi-year sample. So we're used to seeing this Canucks blue line take a lot of penalties. So for DPD to play this abrasive style and to this point in his NHL career, be able to hold the line and not cross it, that's impressive. And I think it follows the overall trend where he's been able to limit mistakes with his game in general. That's a huge part for a guy that plays aggressively as he does. He doesn't get caught many times when he's stepping up, whether it's pinches in the offensive zone or stepping up the defensive blue line. He's rarely caught out of position. I can only really remember 1 or 2 instances of that happening egregiously, which again speaks volumes about how impressive he's been as a rookie defenseman.
Anything else you want to say about tonight's game?
I am going to be really interested to see if the Canucks can find a way to continue manufacturing the rush offense they did against Winnipeg. I thought it was really interesting that Tocchet alluded to how opponents look at the Canucks as a team that don't create a lot off the rush. And so some teams, like the Jets, will forecheck really aggressively. And if their breakouts are really clean, they're going to catch those forecheckers high up the ice. And that's how the Canucks scored 2 goals off the rush in the first period. Their breakouts in the first period were immaculate, so much better than the second and third period. And it created instant offense for them. The reason I bring that up is because the Blues under Montgomery, they like to forecheck aggressively. Quite often, they send two guys in to try and hunt the puck down. And so if the Canucks can break out efficiently, and it's not just the defenseman, it's the wingers being in the right spots, it's the centerman dropping low, it's being able to connect plays with decisiveness, with accuracy with your passing. That's going to be something that I look for is can your breakouts allow you to manufacture some transition chances against a Blues forecheck that likes to be really aggressive.
All right, let's get to our poll question. It's about the road trip. Our poll question is a presentation of Pacific Toyota dealers who want to tell you about the 100% electric Toyota BZ4X. An SUV packed with plenty of space, the BZ4X can handle any terrain, taking you from the city to the slopes. Plus, if you're driving a BZ4X, you can get access to HOV lanes even if you're driving alone. When you choose the BZ4X, you can get $6,500 in rebates and incentives, and now you can finance the 2025 BZ4X in 3.29% APR for 36 months. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. All right, our poll question. 6-game road trip for the Canucks arm. I'm going to rattle off the opponents, okay? St. Louis, Rangers, Devils, Islanders, Blue Jackets, Jets. Not the easiest, also not the toughest. Our poll question today was how many wins will the Canucks get on this 6-game road trip? Obviously, we can only make 4 options, so I had to make some ranges here. I did 1 to 2, 3, 4 to 5, or 6. Majority of people, and this is why I made 3 a standalone, majority of people, 39.1% to be exact, say 3 games. I'm not great at math, but if the Canucks want to stay in this playoff hunt, they basically need to win 3 games, is how I'm kind of looking at it right now. I think they would really like to win 4 out of 5. Obviously, they'd like to win 6, but I think this team and I'm not going to try to predict which games they win, but I think if this team, believes in themselves the way I think they do right now, and they have that swagger, consistency, that's the question. We've been burned before when we watched this team play a game like they did against the Jets and then bounce back, not bounce back, but follow it up with a really bad game. Call me crazy. Part of me feels like this team might have just turned a corner. We'll see, though. We'll see. Maybe I'm jinxing them just repeatedly, but I'm going with 4 to 5 in my range here. 36.8% of voters agree with me. What are you saying, Harm?
That's bold. I lean towards 3. That I agree with you is the bare minimum. If you get 4, that's a huge win for this road trip. But it isn't so much just the wins either. It's when you're losing, can you find a way to grind out a point? That makes a massive difference. This isn't a wins and losses league. This is a points accumulation race. And so we can focus on, are they going to get 3 wins? Are they going to get 4 wins? Put it this way, 3-3-0 sounds a lot different than, let's say, 3-1-2. Like 3-1-2 would be a massive success on this road trip, or even 3-2-1. You take that all day long, in my opinion. But if you're gonna the games that you lose, it's gonna be key that you at least avoid regulation losses and keep games close heading into the third period. And I'll give you an example, right? So the Utah game on Sunday, the Canucks didn't have their A game. They had nothing going offensively, but they were able to defend well enough in the first 2 periods that it was a tie score headed into the third period. Those are the types of situations that you got to convert into getting at least 1 point, forcing it to overtime. Like that, to me, was an opportunity missed when you've got a tie score. No matter how bad you're scuffling offensively, this team should play the type of lockdown defense that allows them to, I mean, this is what they want to do, right? Low event, not many chances for either team. So that's going to be something that I look for as well.
Okay. You ready for the feud?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Technical producer Jacob Lazar, take it away.
I'm your man, Jacob Lazar. Sorry, I was not expecting to start this so quickly. I was working on something else in the back here, but I'm ready to go. All right, guys. It's a winning streak that I want to end this week. I'm tired of working with you guys. I want to beat you guys. And we'll see. Today might be a little bit more on the difficult side, but it's still attainable. You're going to need to get all the number 1 answers, though. I think
Okay.
if you don't pick up all the number ones, it's going to be very difficult. All right, David Quadrelli, you are going first. You're going to have 25 seconds on the clock. Your timer will begin when I finish reading the first question. If you can't think of a response, just say pass, and we'll get back to it at the end if we have time. David Quadrelli, are you ready?
Yes.
Amongst the regulars on Canucks Conversation, so you, Harmon, myself, J-Pat, and Dave Hall, who is most likely to score on a penalty shot against the Vancouver Canucks goalie?
Dave Hall.
How many playoff games will the Canucks play in this season?
7.
Name a player who played for both the Canucks and Blues.
Pass.
Name a Canuck who wore jersey number 18.
Jason Dickinson.
Rounded to the nearest 10, what will be Connor Bedard's career high for points in a season?
80.
Name a player who played for the Canucks and Blues. You got 2 seconds.
Say it again, sorry?
Name a player who played for the Canucks and Blues. 3. Dimitra. I don't know, chat. Should I give it to him?
Of course you should give it to me.
All right.
Your mic cut out right at the end there.
Okay, fine. I'll give it to you. All right, you can flag Harmon down. I'll tally up your score.
He's coming. That was tough. You can hear me. That was tough. That was a tough one, but we'll see. I am still confident as always, but that was tough. Because here's the thing: I know the right answer, but I'm not sure if everybody does. You know, mostly that first question. I'm gonna stop talking about the questions. Harm, can you even hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Okay, almost done here. Quads, you like stumbled through that and yet still managed a pretty decent round. I just need to check one more.
Sure.
All right.
There was a little bit of controversy at the end, Harm. So I passed a question. Jacob started reading it again as the timer ran out, but then his mic cut out, so I didn't hear him. So I just said, "Hey, can you repeat that?" And then I thought about it for a couple seconds.
Quads, sorry, I don't remember what your answer was to the last question, the rounded to the nearest question.
I'll just text it to you. No, it's okay. I'll text Jacob. But anyways, there was a little bit of controversy, but chat is saying to give it to me. There's some people that are just haters, but you know, the reasonable people in the show, like Karn here, said give it to him. Long questions took away his time. The questions were that long, it'll be okay. You'll do fine, Harm.
Quads, you got to 90 points.
Okay.
All right, we got a shot.
Yeah.
How many?
Uphill climb, but
when you were gone, Harmon, Jacob said we needed every number one answer. How many number one answers did I get?
Quads got 2 number one answers.
Ooh. All right. Well, that means they're there for you, Harm.
All right, we'll see.
I got 90. You can do this. Okay, I'll mute. I don't need to. Never mind. All right, Jacob, take it away.
All right, Harm, you're going to have 30 seconds on the clock. Your timer will begin when I finish reading the first question. If you can't think of a response, you can say pass. We'll come back to it at the end, like we had to do with Quads. And if you give one of Quads' answers, you'll hear the buzzer, and I will ask you to try again. Harmon, are you ready?
Yeah.
Amongst the regulars on Canucks Conversation, so yourself, Quads, me, J-Pat, and Dave Hall, who is most likely to score on a penalty shot against a Canucks goalie?
Oh, man. I'll go Jacob.
How many playoff games will the Canucks play in this year?
6.
Try again.
5.
Name a player who played for both the Canucks and Blues.
Pavel Dimitra.
Try again.
Josh Leva.
Name a Canuck who wore jersey number 18.
Drew O'Connor.
Rounded to the nearest 10, what will be Connor Bedard's career high in points in a season?
110.
110. I'll give it to you. All right. Good work. Thank you.
I don't think we made it.
No, I don't think so.
When I went Josh Levo, Canucks and Blues, I was like, I fumble this. This is not going to get
all
me
right.
A lot of
So
points.
we're going to go through here for the first question. This was a fun one. I was the number one answer on that, by the way, with 36 points. And Quads, you got the number 2 answer with Dave Hall.
It's just okay. I thought you said I was number 2. I'm like, I can't. I wouldn't be able to score. Okay.
Dave Hall was number 2.
Nice. So we got 1 and 2.
I was a goalie, but I still got a pretty decent wrist shot. I think you
or Jeff was the right answer, and then Dave's in there as well.
Yeah,
Harmon and I would be at the bottom of that.
So 36 points there for you, Harm. So good start. Only need 74 more. Okay, how many playoff games will the Canucks play in this season? Quads, you said 7, 6 to 7.
Oh, you put him in a range. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was the number 1 answer. But Harm, you just hit the number 2 with 4 to 5.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
A lot of people did fill this out before the win over the Jets. I think if we were to poll again, it would skew a little bit differently.
16.
Yeah. There was one person who said 15 or more games, which would be guaranteed into the 3rd round mathematically. And 24 people said no playoff games. Hey, that could very well happen, especially after a loss tonight. But hey, a win tonight. We saw Noah Strang's tweet. It could be above 50% chance for it happen.
You said 24 people said no playoffs?
24 people said no playoffs.
Crazy. Come on, people. Believe in something. Okay, continue.
A player who played for both the Canucks and Blues. Quads, you snuck in the number 1 answer right at the end, Pavel Demitra. Harm, Josh Levo. I need to look this up.
That's tough. We're going to get like under 5, man.
1 for Josh Levo.
Brutal.
Josh Levo's mom.
Some other ones on the list. Dakota Joshua.
Oh, Cliff Ronning.
Cliff Ronning was the number 6 answer. Ryan Miller, Jeff Courtnall, Max Lapierre. And there were some fun ones in there too. Matthew Highmore. I don't even know if Highmore played for the Blues or not.
Yeah, he did.
Garth Butcher, Craig Cox. Some really good names. People did a good job on that question.
Joshua was number 2?
Joshua was number 2.
Okay. How many points would that have gotten? That sounds
19.
like a widespread. Ooh, okay. That's
so
right.
Harm, you got 1 point there and 40 to go with 2 questions left.
Ooh, close.
Name a Canuck who wore jersey number 18. Quads, you came in with, I don't even remember, Jason Dickinson. You got 3 for that. And again, those people probably only filled out the survey after his hit on Hedel. Otherwise, I don't think Dickinson would have had any responses. Number 1 answer was Jake Virtanen. So neither of you guys got number 1.
I was thinking Jake, but I thought Canucks fans hate him so much.
Oh,
they're going to try to wipe him from their memory.
With people putting like the sick face emoji, like people were like,
he was the first answer that came into my mind. I actually had to rack my brain for a second one, but I was like, the city hates Virtanen so much that I feel like they're intentionally gonna like try and wipe him from their memory.
There were a lot of people who put Virtanen, but were like, I don't want to, but I have to put Virtanen kind of thing. Drew O'Connor was the number 2 answer though, Harm. So you got 13 points there.
Nice.
Igor Larionov was number 3. Chris Tanev, number 4 from his first year with the Canucks when he wore number 18. So that was a good pull there. And then Steve Bernier, Sam Lafferty, and then there's a few other random ones.
So 27 to go?
27 to go.
It's going to be tough.
Rounded to the nearest 10. What will be Connor Bedard's career high for points in a season? Quads, you actually said 80?
Yeah, I did.
What?
Yeah.
That you got 5 points for that. And I think that's a pretty generous 5 points. Harm, actually, I don't even remember. Harm, what did you say?
110.
110. You need 27 points. The number 1 answer would give you 34. Number 2 answer would only give you 21. So you needed to hit the number 1 answer. 110 points was indeed the number 1 answer.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I was going to say, if we didn't get that, that's entirely on me for saying 80. Because for some reason, as Jacob was reading the question, I'm like, how many points is he at right now? Like, what's he going to do right now? I'm like, 80. And yeah, anyways, great job, Harmon. You
Harmon,
let's go.
Clutch
that was good.
So you guys, the only number 1 you missed was Jake Virtanen, but you got every other number 1, and you got a lot of the number 2s as well. With 207 points, this is our closest one in a while. Yeah, couldn't stump you guys, but you know what? I'll give you credit. That was a hard-earned victory.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think we were gonna make it.
No, that was a character win. This puts hair on your chest.
Some people, Ed in the chat, Harm was clutch there. Yeah, Harm was clutch. He absolutely clutched up right at
this was a Harmon week. Write it down as a Harmon week. People are mentioning the regular listener of the show, Josh Levo's mom. Yes. Where else? There was another one that I wanted to read. Where'd it go? I can't remember. Oh yeah. The people who were like, yeah, Tanev was my answer. I put Josh Levo. Josh Levo's a great pull.
There was only one Josh Levo. So whoever is claiming that they put Josh Levo, I mean, the funny thing is I can also search and see who else they answer. No way. Whoever put Josh Levo was also one of the people who put Jason Dickinson for the next question.
My guy, that was Narav in the chat, and he
So-
said Josh Levo was a legend that half season before he got
He
injured
was.
in the Hay Kit. He absolutely
He was so underrated.
And-
he was playing first line. He was great. He was amazing.
And so those responses, that was a J Pat for the likely to score. No playoffs, but Josh Levo, Jason Dickinson. I thought for a second he also was one of the guys that put 80 for Bedard's points, but he put 90. So that if he had the 80 as well, quads, I would have started to think maybe this was quad stuff in the ballot box or something. But no, that's not the case. But Josh Levo and Jason Dickinson from the same respondent didn't quite guarantee you the win, but like it would have been even closer if that person didn't come through for you guys.
Excellent. Narav, shout out to Narav in the chat. All right. I think that was a good family feud. And Harm, like Jacob said, that was a hard-earned victory. With that, let's get to anyone else, which is brought to you by our friends over at Greta, the home of our electric watch parties. Greta's a great spot for all games, home and away, conveniently located just minutes from the arena. Make Greta your pre, post, or main spot to chill next time you're downtown with drinks, the iconic street food menu, and of course the arcade games. Head on down to Greta today. 50 West Cordova Street is the address. Let the games begin. And more info coming about the April 10th watch party. Going to be a lot of fun. Very excited for it. Okay. The GM meetings were yesterday, Harm. We didn't really touch on this enough, I don't think, yesterday. Gary Bettman doubled down on the NHL's playoff format. And I don't think we don't have the clip, but his reasoning, and I'm not sure if you heard it, was, and I've long tried to do a Gary Bettman impression, and it's not very good, so I'm not going to do a Gary Bettman impression, but I feel like I could do like his cadence, right? Basically, what he said was, well, no one's complaining that there's good matchups in the first round. This is good for the game. It's like, yeah, that's not what people are saying. That's not why people want it going back to 1-8. It's that the best teams should be rewarded for having those seasons. And the second team in the division, in a stacked division, shouldn't just immediately face the third team. Now, I don't know where I land on this. I think I like the 1-8 format because ultimately, like that's what you see usually across sports. But Bettman really likes this style, which we've known for a while, but he doubled down on it yesterday, saying, yeah, the first round playoff matchups, they're fantastic and it's good hockey. And he's not wrong, but it is weird to see like number one teams getting bounced, or I guess number two teams getting bounced right away. Whereas the opponent they would be facing would be a lot easier.
Yeah, I also think it's a lack of variety that you get because of the divisional format. I mean, I'm sick of seeing the Oilers and Kings play round one. We just see it over and over again. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna go by points percentage. By the way, I'm fully agree that they should go back to 1-8. I think players agree, the overwhelming majority of fans agree. But just out of curiosity, I'm gonna go 1-8 in for each conference, sort of by points percentage, and go through the playoff matchups we would have if the regular season ended today. You'd have Winnipeg, Vancouver, so that wouldn't change. Dallas, Minnesota, Vegas. I bungled this.
No, you didn't. Vegas, LA. You got it.
Vegas, LA. No, I definitely messed something up.
What do you mean? Okay, Winnipeg,
Vancouver,
Dallas. LA.
Yes, I'm just confusing myself because of the points percentage thing. Because when you sort by points percentage, there's also on the very left hand side column, there's the numbers, but the numbers don't change. So I was also it was sorted by points percentage, but I was also looking at the numbered columns on the left side, which hadn't adjusted. Let's scrap that. That did not go well.
Well, you're
okay. Just start it over. I want to clip this for social, anyways. So we'll just reset and we'll take it from here. You got it, Harm.
All right, reset. I'm just gonna go by raw points. Screw points percentage. Winnipeg, Vancouver, Dallas, LA, Vegas, Minnesota, Colorado, Edmonton. That would be insane. And then in the East, it'd be Washington, Montreal, Carolina, Ottawa, Florida, New Jersey, and Toronto, Tampa.
So some matchups that we're going to see anyway, but also some really cool matchups that we're going to be robbed of. And you point out the Edmonton, Colorado series. Come on. Who wouldn't want to see that? Whereas we know what's going to happen in Edmonton, LA. We've seen it. We've seen this show. We've seen this movie so many times before. It feels like. I absolutely agree with you. I agree with you. Go back to 1-8. I had to be convinced.
And one of the things that was talked about when this format came in was, we want to create playoff rivalry or create rivalries from playoff series. That hasn't happened. Would anyone say that the Kings are one of the Oilers' rivals? It's Calgary. It's Vancouver now. I mean, you could almost even argue Winnipeg might even be a bigger rival for them. Like, I don't think anyone in Edmonton considers the LA Kings a rival, despite the fact they've been in the playoffs how many times with them.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, all it took was one Canucks Oilers series last year to reinvigorate that. You're almost better off letting those series happen less frequently. So when they do happen, it's just a bigger deal rather than pumping out the same matchups over and over and over again. Right. I'm absolutely with you guys. Go back to 1-8. It was so much better. And then division winners getting seeds 1 through 3 guarantees you home ice in that first round and guarantees you one of the bottom teams in the playoffs from your conference. Like, it just makes more sense to reward teams that way, and you get better matchups. It's a win-win.
You're bang on. What else came out of those GM meetings? Anything that you want to talk about? They're talking about decentralizing the draft again. Did you see this?
Yeah, I
This
did.
is gonna be the first year of decentralizing the draft, and I don't think Bettman wanted to decentralize the draft. Was the vibe that I got, because he came out and said, again, do my best for his cadence. Basically, he said, this is what the teams wanted. And I told them, I tried to tell them that this was a bad idea. Maybe this is a lesson that they should always listen to G-Man himself. That was basically what was said.
Yeah, I think a big part of it too is the reason to go decentralized was owners and teams believing that they would save money by not flying everybody out to a draft. The issue, which I believe Russo and CJ pointed out in the article that they posted on The Athletic, was that owners are realizing that they still have to pay for their scouts and staffers to fly into their home cities for their war room anyway. So you're still paying for travel costs. You're still paying for accommodation. And I think somebody, I can't remember who it was, floated the idea of maybe they'll just go to Montreal every year or every other year, which if you're gonna pick one city to consistently go to for the draft I went to in Montreal was fantastic. What an amazing city. I don't think anybody would complain. Plus, it's just nice to have an NHL event where just everybody's there, media, execs. It's fun seeing the draft floor, and you see the GMs running into one another, having those trade conversations on the floor. I think it's good for the game. I think it's good for the product.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. So yes, some talk of decentralizing the draft. We'll see. Anything else you want to get to, Harm?
No, I was looking through and there doesn't seem like there's a lot. They may expand the regular season to 84 games while also cutting a couple preseason games to account for the difference, which I mean, cutting preseason games, I'm fully on board with. There's no reason to have 6 or 7 or however many it is. I think they should cut preseason games even more. They should have like 3 tops. This is what's disappointing too, is they're talking about maybe even starting the season in late September, but then having the same end date in late June, which to me is dumb. Like, start the season in late September and the Stanley Cup final in early to mid-June max, rather than going to like the 21st or the 22nd.
3 days later, it's the draft.
But it sounds like the league's not going in that direction, so that's unfortunate.
Also, don't expect any major NHL rule changes next year. That was the other thing that came out of it. Vibes for tonight, Harm. How you feeling about tonight's game? Canucks Blues.
It's hard to pick up vibes with this team because they're so inconsistent and they're so unpredictable. Right? Would you be shocked if they turn in a Utah level lifeless offensive performance? I wouldn't. But would you also not be shocked if they continue the momentum from the Winnipeg game and maybe not pump 6 goals, but decisively control play, look dynamic offensively? Pettersson, Besser continue their top line chemistry together and they win, I mean, that wouldn't shock me either. I think this team has just been so difficult to figure out, to wrap your head around. They've had multiple standout performances against top contender teams. You go back to some of the wins that they had against Florida on a homestand a couple months ago. Colorado decisively shutting their offense down. They've had some of these really impressive wins against elite teams. The problem has been they've never really been able to sustain and carry over that momentum and put together a stretch where they play high level hockey for a long time. And that's why it's so difficult to kind of nail down what are you going to get with this team. And to me, it really goes back to the point we were talking about yesterday, where it is going to have to be the big guns. I cannot stress enough how important it is that Pettersson and Besser need to drive play, need to be dangerous offensively, need to get on the scoreboard. Otherwise, you're going to, again, go back to a situation where you essentially have 3 third lines, and that's just not going to cut it against a Blues top 6 that's rolling right now.
You're bang on. You're bang on. All right. Looks like a shorter show today. Looks like a shorter edition of Canucks Convo. Jacob, was there anything in the chat that I'm missing?
I will just point out Mike Weller, regular listener, saying with Harm's point about how the season would end late June but start earlier. Next year there will be the Olympic break in there as well. So I think it's starting earlier just to compensate for the Olympic break, and then not have as tight of a schedule as they had this year, which I think is fair enough. Like, there've been, I mean, not an insane number of back-to-backs, but man, it feels like the Canucks play every other night, and they have been since the Four Nations break. So I don't think the league should keep operating under this, hey, we're going to play Stanley Cup final games in like late June. But I mean, for next year, I think that would make sense because of the Olympics in there.
For next year, it makes sense. But so Pierre LeBrun was reporting on this a week ago in his article. This sounded like an idea that was separate from being Olympic break driven. It sounded like something that they would consistently do every season. It's just an idea to space out the schedule in general. And it not being like a one-off because of the Olympics and needing a longer break.
I don't like that. Another thing was brought up, final thing for me, the All-Star game. They're talking about, we've set the bar so much higher with the Four Nations break, so we need to figure out how we're going to make the All-Star game that much better. I don't think there's an answer. Ultimately, like, you can't force the players to try. No matter how much money you throw in the prize pool, you can't force them to try at the All-Star game. You can't force it. If that's not going to happen, you're not going to have a good time.
Bettman sounded like, and I think the league knows that. Bettman sounded like he wanted to just cancel the All-Star game, but they're caught in a bit of an awkward spot because they've promised the Islanders that they're hosting the All-Star game, and for fans as well who are season ticket holders and all that, corporate sponsors, I'm sure, involved too. Because of all of those factors at play, it might be logistically challenging to just pull the plug on the All-Star game for next year. But moving forward, I mean, I don't think anyone cares about the All-Star game. Maybe kids if you're under the age of like 12. But yeah, I mean, there's no way to save the All-Star game in my mind.
I was going to say, Harm, like, is 2026 the last All-Star game we get? I mean, when you look at the NFL, the Pro Bowl has essentially turned into like beach games and flag football, and I don't think any NFL fan has watched the Pro Bowl in a decade. Like, it exists, but it really doesn't. It's not a game anymore. Like, are we getting there in the NHL? Or is 2026 going to be the last All-Star game, and then we just do, hey, World Cup and Olympics alternating years, and the years in between, we don't do anything. We just let everyone go off for a week and sit on the beaches in Cancun.
Yeah, we'll see. I won't miss it if they cancel the All-Star game forever.
Clearly.
You know what? Okay, actually, I will say one thing here with Raj.
Do you remember, by the way, sorry, I just wanted to bring one more point up. Do you remember, I believe it was at last year's All-Star break, the Seattle Kraken released a video behind the scenes where they pulled Oliver Bjorkstrand in to reveal to him that that he was going to the All-Star game, and it was supposed to be this sort of like candid, like, wow, excited to go type of moment. And you could just tell by Bjorkstrad's just like having zero reaction that he was bummed out he got selected and had to, like, one of the questions was, oh, what were you gonna get up to? And he was like, yeah, just a tropical vacation, gonna have to cancel that now. And it was just so funny, this like moment that's meant to be like a whoa revealed, you're an all-star, turn into a player realizing that he has to cancel his vacation to somewhere tropical and instead go somewhere cold for an all-star game.
Yeah. Not to make this about baseball, but the Pirates did something similar with Paul Skeens, and you know the name Paul Skeens.
Yeah,
everybody does at this point. He's getting to that stage of global superstar. Name another Pirates pitcher, Harmon. You can't. And it's not just because you can't watch that you don't watch baseball. A lot of people can't name another Pirates starting pitcher. So what teams do is they often put out a video of like telling their starter that, hey, like you're the opening day starter, okay? And they did one with Skeens, and he was just like, oh yeah, all right, cool. And like you can tell, obviously he's grateful, but he's like, who else was it gonna be?
Yeah.
You can tell that he had that in mind. Here's the thing: those videos. Give me those videos when a guy's finding out that he's an NHLer, a regular NHLer. Bo Horvat comes to mind when the Canucks did one, Willie D going over all his highlights or lowlights, I should say, and then saying welcome to the NHL and the teammates all going nuts. Like, give me that moment. Give me guys getting their big league debut in baseball. Don't give me one for the All-Star game. Don't give me one, opening day starter when we have poo for 4 other arms, although Jared Jones deserves some love, but that's besides the point. It was just, it just made me think of that. And you're right, the Bjorkstrand video was so good.
Yeah, I need now a video of Chris Knobloch calling Connor McDavid into his office, being like, Connor, game 1 of the regular season, got a big reveal for you. Massive honor. You're going to be our first line center.
You're in the starting lineup tonight, Connor.
Connor, you get to take the first face off of the season. How does that make you feel? I was going to say that Raj Kraft saying USA versus Canada game instead. I don't think that would happen, but I wouldn't be opposed to the NHL going back to the North American versus Europe or versus World All-Star format that they did like 25 years ago. If you were just going to do one more All-Star game, let's say, hey, change up the format, go North America versus World, just so that it's different and that, fans can watch and be like, okay, this was better than the All-Star games we've had the last 4 or 5 years, but this feels like a good one to end it on. And people pointing out like other sports All-Star events, like the NBA is kind of in the same situation as the NHL right now. People don't care about the All-Star game. Like everyone skips the 3-point contest. The dunk contest has been three-peated by the equivalent of an AHL player. Like Mac McClung is on his way to having more dunk contest wins than like starts in the NBA in his career, which is insane. So this isn't like an NHL specific problem. It seems like it's just a general sports problem where all-star games are really not what they used to be.
That's a good point about Mac McClung. People are requesting the giant baby. Do you have it on hand, Jacob? Okay. Wow, that was fast.
That was quick.
Jacob has it on a hotkey. Okay, I don't know why people wanted to see the giant baby, but we'll wrap it up there with our Bet 365.
It's Gary Bettman on top, and then the divisional playoff format on the bottom.
Oh my gosh, getting wild on a Thursday here on Canucks Conversation. Okay, busy NHL slate tonight. Every team in action. No. Pittsburgh not in action, but they're the only team not play. No,
that's not possible. There's an even number.
I know. Hang on. I can't figure out
how many games there are.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
So there's 4 teams
not playing. Yeah. You don't have to hunt for each one that's not playing tonight.
Okay, I'd like to know. People want to know. Strive for the truth on this show, Harm. It's a prime Thursday night, coast to coast. I try to remind people of those. It's a good product.
If I'm not mistaken, this might be their free trial one. I saw there was promotion for that.
It's been on free trial for the past 4 weeks.
Has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. NHL slate tonight. Who do we like? Ooh, Did I win last night? What did I take? Anybody remember? I don't know.
Oh, you took the Avs over the Leafs, right?
And
Yes,
how'd
you
that
did.
go?
The Leafs won.
2-1 too. Damn it. Okay, well, you know what? The Avs are favorites tonight. They wronged me, so tonight's different. They're visiting the Ottawa Senators. The Senators are underdogs in that game for some reason. The playoff-bound Senators are underdogs. I'm taking the Senators money line. You can get that at plus 100. And Jacob told me I have a new read for Bet365. So that's our bet of the day, right?
Yes, you made your pick. That's the
Yeah.
bet of the day.
Now, breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 plus to play. Please play responsibly. All right.
I thought the new read would have an extra disclaimer line about your pick specifically, and like, please really play responsibly.
Don't take the Mariners to win the World Series. Don't do it again. For the past 3 years, made that bet. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there. Oh, Jacob, can we quickly get the Kelly Sutherland video?
Yeah, give me like 30 seconds to
Take your time. And for those that didn't see it, and this is, again, I don't know why I had to ask who won last night's game. Because, look, this doesn't end the Avalanche's season by any means, so it's not a big deal, right? But it did basically steal them the game, right? It did steal the game a little bit for the Toronto Maple Leafs. A 2-1 game was decided by Kelly Sutherland starting a rush chance for the Leafs. If we have the clip with audio, Chris Cuthbert mentions, oh, Sutherland dives to get out of the way. I'm pretty sure Kelly Sutherland just fell down, right? Did you see it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I didn't see it, no.
Okay. Basically, and Jacob's going to find it.
I won't be able to play it with audio because copyright.
You don't need the audio. You don't need the audio. But basically, it's pretty clear that he just fell down, blocks a puck, and then the Leafs go the other way and score on the rush because obviously they're not expecting that to happen. So it was not good. It was not good. Kelly Sutherland probably feels very, very bad about it, but it was like a big stretch pass. I believe the Leafs were actually on the PK too. Were they not, Jacob? Pretty sure.
Yeah, they were. It was a
That's
clearing
funny.
attempt from
Yeah,
their
that
own
is-
zone. They weren't even
Wow,
trying
that's
to make a
brutal.
stretch pass. It was just a dump down the ice.
I was gonna make fun of you for making excuses. You're just salty you lost, but watching that clip, that is brutal.
I don't really care that I lost. It's just a crazy turn of events.
Like, it's actually impressive he found a way to stop that puck. It's like watching a shortstop go full stretch dive to keep the ball in the infield.
People in the chat, apparently he's a Leafs fan, despite being from Richmond. Kelly Sutherland, obviously well known in this market. Had to bring it up. Okay, anything else either you want to get to?
Nope.
All right, well, it turned out to not be that short of a Canucks conversation. 4:30 puck drop tonight. We'll be back tomorrow to break it down and preview Saturday's game against the New York Rangers. But we will close it out there. For my co-host Harmer Dial and our technical producer Jacob Bizarre, my name is Dave Woodrelli. Thank you so much for this episode of Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.